As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
All right, hey everyone, welcome into the last, well, no, maybe not the last. I might do a recap episode, but the last one where we make picks, betting episode of the Sleeping with the Numbers podcast. Dylan here. It's the big game, the Super Bowl, San Francisco versus Kansas City. The bandwagon of all the fans in the world, in the U.S., on the Chiefs side, and we can only hope they lose. That's how I feel at the moment. I've talked about it the past few weeks here, few episodes, and man, I just don't want to see them win for so many reasons, but it feels like it's coming, and I don't want to admit it. So what I can do to kind of counteract that, I'm gonna put some bets on Kansas City players so they do well. They don't do well. They shit the bed because, hey, either they don't do well and lose and I'm happy, or they do well and my bets win and I'm less happy, but happy. But this episode, we are doing what we do every year. We are doing the same number of bets as the Super Bowl number. So 58 is the number of the Super Bowl we're on. So we are going to do 58 bets. Really stupid. You shouldn't do this. You should not follow along with all of these bets. Pick and choose some good ones here. I'll be sure to kind of point out what ones are quote unquote real bets and some are just for fun. I did a little bit less special type bets. You know, I'm not betting on the timing of the national anthem. I'm not betting on the first song of the halftime. I'm sticking, for the most part, purely to the game itself, because that's what I care about. I don't think anyone cares about Usher. I don't know why they're getting like these kind of washed up pop stars to perform lately, but I'm kind of over it. But that's where we're at. It doesn't matter because they can put anyone there and people are going to watch it. That's how it is. It's how it's always been. It's how it's going to go. I was looking at like previous halftime shows, and there was an awesome run of like actual rock bands performing. Like I think Prince was like the last one that I was like, that's pretty cool. And then since then it's just been garbage for the most part. You know, we get Left Shark, Right Shark. I don't remember what fucking shark it was, but when Katy Perry was performing, like when the background guy dressed up as a shark is the best part of the Super Bowl halftime show, probably not good, but whatever, doesn't matter. We also got through the NFL honors, so got some payouts there that actually made our future bets profitable. Only a 28.571% hit rate on these future bets, but 5.8 units worth of profit. Those bets that won for me here was Lamar Jackson, MVP, won that one at plus 1,500. That was awesome. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year, also at plus 1,500. And then one I did not expect to get, at least later in the season, early in the season felt pretty good, but still got a Houston's Will Anderson for Defensive Rookie of the Year at plus 400. So that's good. That was actually the one that kind of put us over the profit line here. And then we got absolutely snubbed for TJ Watt not winning Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett winning is the most bullshit I've ever seen. I do not understand how he gets it. You look at it metric wise and compare the two, it's night and day difference. Cool that, you know, Cleveland kind of turned it around and made playoffs and everything, but still got shit on the first round. See, the difference between the Steelers getting shit on the first round, we knew that was going to happen. Cleveland fooled everyone yet again, and I don't know why people keep getting fooled by them. I think it was Micah Parsons that said it during the Pro Bowl when he was playing Njoku in Madden. Browns are going to Brown. Browns are the Browns. That is like the most, like, if you want to take something away from all this and use it for betting, bet against the Browns when everyone is on them. It is so easy to do, and it feels fantastic when it actually pays off, which is quite often. So, they got all hyped. Oh, we're bringing in OBJ. Oh, the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. Shit on. Oh, we got Deshaun Watson. We paid way too much money for a sexual predator. We feel good about that. We have such a good team. Shit on. Like, Joe Flacco came in and outperformed him. Joe Flacco also winning Comeback Player of the Year, which is the right pick. Don't let anyone trick you otherwise. I understand. Damar Hamlin died. Came back and played. I am under the impression he was only on that team because of what happened last year. Because his performance was not there. I'm being a dick, definitely. Absolutely. But he did nothing this past season. The only thing he came back from is death, which, again, don't get me wrong, that's impressive. That's 100% impressive. But in terms of football play, he wasn't there. He did not deserve that award. It's like a pity award. It's a what's the thing people are always mad at my generation for getting? Oh man, when you just show up. Participation. That's what it is. That's really what it was going to be if they gave it to him. And they got the call right. They got that one right, but Defensive Player of the Year wrong. So again, I'm probably biased in a lot of places, and everyone can disagree. That's what we're here for. It's what we're allowed to do. I'm just telling you my thoughts. It's my show. I'll say what I want. All right, but let's hop into what matters, and that is the Super Bowl. So Kansas City, San Francisco. San Francisco favored by 2 points. Over-under set at 47.5. Almost all of the tickets and the money are on the Chiefs. It's like 75-80%. Which, how I started off this episode is talking about the Chiefs bandwagon. That makes sense, right? But that's not what we are here to do. We're here to make money. And I want to go a bit contrarian this time, which is weird to say that it's contrarian to bet on the favorite. But that is the absolute truth. And I don't know if the odds makers are playing into it, having everyone be like, how are the Chiefs the underdogs? That doesn't make any sense. Everyone loves them. Everyone loves the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift story. They're getting new fans because of this, and the world knows it. And it, you just gotta look past that. You gotta see through it. And I'm hoping what's happening here is the biggest setup for a fall from grace, and it's gonna be fantastic. Anyways, with that said, my pick, I'm taking San Francisco to win and cover the 2 points. I'm taking the over 47.5. It's like 60% on the under right now. 47.5. I can see this being a bit back and forth. However, I can also see it being very close and conservative in the game. But I'm going to choose the narrative I'm picking here because that's the narrative I chose at the beginning. So when I made these bets that we're going to go through, for the most part, I went through and said to myself, okay, I think San Francisco's going to win. I think it's going to need to be a back and forth competitive game. And if it's a back and forth competitive game with, the number one offense, that is San Francisco. It's not the Chiefs. Chiefs are the 11th ranked. Two good offenses going back and forth. That over should hit. So that's how I started off this process. Locked in what I thought was going to happen game-wise. And then when I went and made my bets, I'm breaking it down into the details of what can happen. What is probable. Not all of these are probable. Some of these are fun. Don't forget that. But I'll call out the ones that aren't great actual bets. But let's do it. Let's hop into these. Most of these are a split between DraftKings and Bovada. Those are the two books I am using here. Just because they had a lot of picks that I can choose from. But choose whatever sportsbook you want. And more importantly, search around. Do some odd shopping. Now, it's a little difficult with some of these bets to do odd shopping because some of these bets might be specific to a certain sportsbook, just trying to have fun. Like, for example, I have Swifties bets here from DraftKings. I'm sure a lot of sportsbook are doing similar things, but trying to match them up exactly might be a little difficult. So just a heads up there before we hop into these. I'm going to go through them, all 58 of these bets. I'm going to start from the most probable to the least probable, odds-wise. So I went over under technically. The line I generally stick to, which is minus 200. Some of these are less than that odds-wise, but we're having fun. We're here for the Super Bowl. That's what we're here for. I said that 3 different ways of saying the same thing. Sound like an idiot, but here we go. Fuck it. We're just going to get into this, and I am realizing that I have 2 of the same bets here, and I'm going to need to add an extra one. Come on, amateur move. So let me delete that, and as we go through this, I'll add one random ass bet live. So congratulations, you get to witness that debacle. All right, so the first bet we got here. Felt pretty good about this. Both of these guys should be heavily involved in this game, and that is the 2 running backs, Pacheco and Christian McCaffrey. I have each of them getting 50 or more rush yards at minus 225. So not my favorite bet odds-wise, but I do feel like it is pretty probable. And obviously the odd makers do too. I'm going to have a lot of McCaffrey and Pacheco bets, kind of more so related to touchdowns. When I was doing the kind of investigation work for these bets, I found that the Chiefs, their touchdowns have been all super short yardage, and you'll see why I started looking into this stuff as we go further into these bets. But like all season, the Chiefs have scored 37 offensive touchdowns. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those touchdowns have been over 10 yards. That's wild. So 27 touchdowns have been 10 yards or shorter for the Kansas City Chiefs. So yardage wise, I don't expect Pacheco to completely go off, but I do expect some touchdowns from him. So we'll get to that in a little bit. So Pacheco and Christian McCaffrey each get 50 plus rush yards. Pretty low line, minus 225. Another minus 225 anytime touchdown scorer for Christian McCaffrey. That just feels too easy, which is always bad. That's always a bad sign. Obviously, Andy Reid and the crew, they're going to want to come in here and shut him down. He is obviously their biggest threat. Next one, over 2.5 field goals. Total field goals, minus 210. That's boring. It's boring. Most of these early bets are going to be boring, but that seems possible. These aren't the Dan Campbell teams. They're going to take points when they're offered to them. We're not just going to keep going for it and not take field goals. That's not what they do. Next one here at minus 205. Each team has at least 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. Again, super boring. I apologize for these being boring, but that is at minus 205. That's what we're doing. This was actually a fun one to kind of explore. I've been texting my buddy here as I'm exploring these because I'm going absolutely cross-eyed, trying to fit in 58 bets to take. And so here it is. The bet is, which will be greater? Yards of the first punt or the yards of the longest touchdown scored? So I'm just like, I don't know. Who's actually going to dive into this? Me, because I'm an idiot. So I looked at both punters for San Francisco and Kansas City. Both of them are almost exactly on the dot for their average punt length at 47 yards. So using that as kind of the sticking point to compare to, I just brought up the length of the touchdowns for the Chiefs. only 6 total touchdowns by both teams have been longer than 47 yards. 5 of them were by San Francisco. Kansas City only had a single touchdown that was longer than 47 yards, and that was 48 yards by Pacheco. When was this? Week 4 against the Jets. So, with that said, if we're going to break this down mathematically, they scored a combined total of 97 touchdowns. 6 of them were greater than 47 yards, meaning 91 of them were less than 47 yards. That is 93.8% of touchdowns are less than 47 yards. The bet is at minus 200, which, if you've listened to this show at any length, we like to convert the odds into implied probability. That's how we calculate our edge. So minus 200 implied probability is 66.67%. You subtract the two, you get 27.13% edge. So we are taking the bet that the yards of the first punt is going to be greater than the yards of the longest touchdown scored in the game at minus 200. Again, you can obviously assume, like, yeah, of course that's what's probable. That's why the book has it at minus 200. Yeah, thanks. but just some stupid math behind there, making it a bit more fun. I got another one of these here down the line. This one also felt easy, but that's usually the problem, right? When things feel too easy, that's how you lose money. But I got Debo and Rashee Rice each to have at least one reception in the first quarter at minus 180. Cool. Get a catch, boys. You can do it. The total rush touchdowns being over 1.5 at minus 175. I'm kind of expecting McCaffrey to get 2 on his own. McCaffrey is at least going to get 1 probably. Pacheco, I think, is going to get 1 too. There's your 2, minus 175. This one is also fun. The combined touchdown scorer jersey numbers. So it's another wild type bet. The line is set at 121.5. So, what are the numbers of the guys who we think we're going to score touchdowns? Well, we have Travis Kelce, who is 87. Probable that he gets 1. Pretty probable that he gets 2. If he gets 2 touchdowns, that's over already. Who's the other guy? McCaffrey, 23. So 23, obviously a much lower number than 87, but if we put both him and Kelce together, you get 110. We also already talked about how we think McCaffrey can get 2. So if he gets 2 and Travis gets 1, you're over that 121.5 again. So what would be a problem is if, like, some of these other guys, so let me pull open the numbers here. Like, I'm drawing blanks on numbers here, but like Pacheco, I'm pretty sure is a pretty low jersey number, and that will, of course, screw us if he's getting all the touchdowns. Is his jersey number? It's not 0, is it? Dude, if it's 0, I'm gonna be a little bit upset. But McCaffrey's 15. Not McCaffrey. Mahomes is 15. So if he runs in a touchdown, that doesn't help us very much getting over that number. It really is, Travis. If we focus on him getting the touchdowns, he's going to help us the most. I'm pretty sure he has the highest number of who we expect to get the touchdowns here. So now I have opened the team rosters. Roster. So Purdy, he's 13. Don't really think he's going to run in any. McCaffrey, 23. Talked about that. That's on the lower end. Ayuk is 11. Kittle's 85. So we want these tight ends to get touchdowns if we're going to get over that. Debo's 19. Those are probably the most probable. Those are the most probable guys to get touchdowns on San Francisco. For the Chiefs, we already talked about Kelce, 87. Mahomes at 15. Pacheco's 10, so that doesn't help a ton. Noah Gray, 83. So these tight ends, that's what we're gonna want, I guess. Sky Moore will never have a touchdown. Rashee Rice will be 4. So if Rashee Rice and Pacheco and Ayuk, they're getting all the touchdowns, we got some problems. So really the focus on here is Kelsey, and then if McCaffrey can bump out 2, that looks pretty good. So I took the over there at -170. Next one here, Kelsey, 25 plus receiving yards in each half. I think Mahomes is going to rely on Kelsey even more. He's been doing it the entire postseason. He hadn't wish he would have done it more during the regular season. The first year I get Mahomes and Kelsey on a team, and they just screw me in fantasy. So yeah, I'm a little bitter about that. But playoffs, everything has to count. Mahomes is going to go to his guy Kelsey. So 25 receiving yards in each half for Travis. This one, the odds say it's greater than 50% if you imply it. And I also, if we're expecting kind of a shootout here, I think both of these guys will be passing a good bit. Mahomes obviously more than Purdy, but Purdy and Mahomes have combined for 500 or more passing yards. That is at -140. Next one here. Like I said, I think Mahomes is going to be throwing it a good bit, hopefully playing catch up. So Kelsey, we already know, should be getting the yards. Rashee Rice has been great. He really showed off this year. I have them both getting 50 plus receiving yards at -140. And now we hit our first Swiftie special bet, which is 15. Fantastic song from the Fearless album. Yes, I'm going to show off my Swiftie knowledge here. I've been seeing Taylor since I was... so I saw her, I might have been 12 when she sang the national anthem at a Steelers game. That was the first time I saw her. Didn't really think about it much then. Then she comes out with the first album. Go see her concert. Kiss on the cheek. All right, that was weird. That was awkward. I shouldn't say things like that. But, it's a good time in my life. Anyways, 15. Fearless Tour was the first tour I saw. Mahomes to get 15 or more rush yards and 250 plus pass yards. Like it. -140. Easy enough. Next one here that I went and did some calculations in. Total points of the game to be greater than the yards of the longest field goal in the game. So we are just using the Vegas line because they're obviously way better at this than anyone else. If we are expecting 47.5 points, will Butker or Moody get a field goal that is longer than that? So just looking at this past season, Butker has had 6 field goals greater than 47.5 yards. Moody has only had 2. So 46 out of their 54 combined field goals have been less than 47.5 yards. So that is 85.19%. The odds are at -135, which is a 57.45% implied probability, giving us a 27.74% edge. Lock that in at -135. Simple bet. I got San Francisco money line at -127. Oh, well, I haven't put that in yet. Odds came down. -118. All right. -118 for the San Francisco 49ers. And then Pacheco, anytime touchdown at -120. At -115, we got Patrick Mahomes with 100 plus pass yards in each half. Like I said, I think they're going to be slinging. Maybe less so in the first half, but still, nonetheless, I expect Mahomes to really show up here like he's done every single Super Bowl he's been in. Another fun one here at -115 as well. The jersey number of the first touchdown scorer to be over 22.5. Why? McCaffrey, 23. Kelsey, 87. Those are the 2 guys that we would need to score the first touchdown for this to win, and they have the highest odds to do so, other than Pacheco, who is number 10, that is smashed in between them. McCaffrey for first touchdown scorer is at +360. Kelsey is at plus 700. Pacheco at plus 650. So really what that bet is McCaffrey or Kelsey to get the first touchdown. And I feel good about that. So that is at minus 115. Also have San Francisco to get the longest touchdown at minus 115. I talked about the length of these touchdowns for Kansas City. Only 7 of them are over 10 yards. While if we go and look at San Francisco, they have many more big play touchdowns. They have 29 touchdowns of 10 or more yards. And huge ones by Ayuk, 76 yards. George Kittle, 66. McCaffrey, 65. Debo, 54, 48, 46 yards. So my money is on San Francisco to get the longest touchdown of the game because that's what they've done all season. Kansas City, obviously a good team, but a lot of their scoring, majority of their scoring comes from in the 10 zone. So got them at minus 115. San Francisco minus 2 at minus 110. Over 47.5, talked about it already, minus 110. Mahomes to get over 250 plus passing yards and a Kelsey touchdown at minus 110. Kelsey touchdown by itself is at minus 110. That's a red flag, isn't it? That is a bet that we shouldn't make, because if you can get just a Kelsey touchdown at minus 110, but the parlay, which this is what that is, of Mahomes over 250 passing yards and you need a Kelsey touchdown at the same odds, that's a bad bet. So luckily I haven't put these in yet, so take that out. But I do want to keep that thought in this episode because that's how I want you to be thinking when you make these bets. Realize, 1, do odd shopping. 2, the odds have to mean something. And when they mean something, or the easiest way to make them mean something is to convert them into implied probability. So like minus 110, if we convert that into implied probability, that is 52.38%. So the probability, implied probability, we're saying for a Kelsey touchdown is 52.38%. Cool. By itself. Adding on Mahomes to also get 250 or more passing yards should bring that implied probability down, but the odds are staying the same. So that is a negative edge, or you can't even call it an edge, but a negative difference there. So we should not take that bet. So I'm taking that one out, but I want to leave that thought process in this episode because that's not great. Jersey number of the last touchdown scorer, same deal. We're betting on McCaffrey and Kelsey, minus 110. Sounds good. Mahomes and Purdy to each get 225 or more passing yards at minus 105. And here we are starting to cross into the plus odd bets, which make them a little bit more fun. And I have 2 more that I gotta go and find here for you guys because 1, I duplicated a bet, which I didn't realize. And 2, we found a bad bet that we should just not take because it doesn't make sense. So for even money, got 3 bets here for even money. First one, 4 plus field goals scored. That's a pretty big line for field goals scored. So what might happen is, they're not Dan Campbell. We talked about this. They're going to take points when they're offered to them. That's the hope for this bet. Next one, each team to score a touchdown in each half. That feels good, and it goes with my narrative of a high-scoring game. So you can't have a high-scoring game without touchdowns. And I don't think just one team's going to do it. I think this is going to be a pretty competitive game, and I'm going for the over. So I'm going to say each team has a touchdown in each half. And then the most important bet of the entire game, I'm going heads on the coin toss for even money. Tails has failed me. But I'm going heads. Same deal here. This is an interesting one. Because they are the same thing at different odds. I have over 3.5 field goals at plus 110. Now I'm going to keep both of them in here, but I want to walk through this a little bit. So over 3.5 field goals, you can't get half a field goal. So over 3.5 field goal means 4 field goals. This bet is at plus 110. The 4 or more field goals scored is at even money, plus 100. Now, why would there be a difference? The reason there's a difference is because the 4+ field goals scored can push. The line of 3.5 cannot be hit dead on, so there's no push. It's either you win or you lose. So that's why there's that little difference there. So I'm going to keep both. But just know that is why there's a difference there. So if you ever see that, that's why. If there's exactly 4 field goals scored, that can push, and I just get my money back. Next one here, Kelsey, 43+ receiving yards and a touchdown. So 43 receiving yards, pretty low. We already have Kelsey to get a touchdown at minus 110. So essentially parlaying those together, 43 yards should be easy for him to get. Already said it, I expect the Niners to win. We're going to parlay that with a Christian McCaffrey touchdown to get plus 115. And if the Niners win, I think we're going to see a McCaffrey MVP. Just about every MVP award is a quarterback award. It usually is. But if the Niners win, I feel like Brock's going to get slighted here a little bit, and we're going to get the first running back MVP since, who was it? Denver, Terrell Davis. Denver running back in Super Bowl 32. So it has been a long, long time. Since then it's been quarterbacks, linebackers, and wide receivers. No other position has won it. But we know how good Christian McCaffrey is, and that feels like a good bet if you think the Chiefs are going to win. That is at plus 125. Debo, anytime touchdown at plus 135. Rashee Rice, touchdown, anytime touchdown at plus 135. This bet here, it is a combination of Kelsey or Kittle to get over 100 receiving yards. Now, probability says that's going to be Kelsey, but just adding in Kittle in here, there's always a chance he can go off, but that is at plus 160. And then we got a couple Swifty bets in here in a row. Mine, which is Kelsey, 87+ receiving yards for plus 190. Cool, that feels good. Anti-hero is going to be Purdy, 250+ passing yards and 2+ touchdowns at plus 200. So these are getting a little spicier. We got a parlay here of Christian McCaffrey and Kelsey getting a touchdown at 220, plus 220. Kansas City to have 2 or more rush touchdowns at plus 225 is interesting. Quick thought about it is like, okay, that means you think Pacheco's going to get 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's an easy way to look at it, but I think Mahomes has a good chance of getting one as well. I think Mahomes can rush one in. It's Super Bowl, time to show off, and I can see them doing that pretty easily. Over 1.5 field goals for each team at plus 240. I already said I expect over 3.5 and 4 or more field goals. So why not just go over 1.5 for each team at plus 240? Another fun bet here, blue Gatorade for the Gatorade bath. I went back and looked. Orange has been a good bet in the past 22 seasons, I believe. But more recently, it has been blue. Why? Because blue's a better flavor. Orange sucks. I hate orange. It's gross. But blue, better flavor. That's my reasoning here. Red, you would think, is a good bet, right? But no one's picking their drink flavor based on the color of their team. Like, if you don't like fruit punch, I don't care how red you are. You're not going to drink fruit punch Gatorade. Blue's the best flavor. Cool blue, hell yeah. So plus 375 for that one. Also, red has never in the history of the Super Bowl been the color to be dumped on someone. So staying away from red. You can think all you want that Kansas City and San Francisco, they're both red teams. Not going for it. Not going for it. And orange is also a decent bet. 2 Super Bowl wins ago, they dumped orange on Andy Reid. Last year when they won, it was purple. So maybe they have purple again. That's a possibility. So if you want to kind of hedge your bets here, you have an opportunity to do so. Pick like 2 or 3 colors. As long as the lowest one is like plus 300 odds, then you'll win something. It'll be less, but you'll win something. And now we're getting into plus 400s. Plus 400, I got 49ers to win over 48.5 points, and McCaffrey to have 92 or more rush yards. I also have Mahomes as an anytime touchdown scorer. I talked about him rushing one in possibly. That's at plus 400. So I feel like if he's going to do it, he's going to do it in this game. McCaffrey to score in both halves. He's going to be a focal point of the offense. Always has been. I know Shanahan's a good offensive mind and they can spread the ball around, but I don't know if this is the game to do it. So McCaffrey to score in both halves at plus 400. And then we go into another Swifty bet, Thielen 22. Any quarter with 22 or more points, plus 400. So that's a lot of scoring. Probably don't want to actually take this bet. That just sounds, it's a fun one. This is not a good bet. So the other one here, I have Mahomes MVP. This is really the only bet I have that indicates that Kansas City would win. If they win, he will more than likely get MVP. So really, I am viewing this bet as a better money line odd bet for Kansas City. Like, it's better than the plus 110, plus 115, whatever you can get it at now. So if they're going to win, Mahomes will get MVP. Let's just take it at plus 450. Any of the following players, Christian McCaffrey, Pacheco, Kelsey, or Rice to score 2 or more touchdowns at plus 475. Already, I'm kind of, a lot of my bets are correlated with each other. We talked about the combined jersey number of the touchdown scores to be over 121. Well, in that case, I'm expecting, hopefully, Kelsey to get 2 touchdowns here. Might as well just loop that into this as well at plus 475. I'm also kind of betting on him because I hope he doesn't get anything. So, again, might be breaking my own curse. I'm trying to be happy either way during the Super Bowl. Next parlay I got here, 49ers minus 3.5, and Mahomes and Purdy to have 250 plus passing yards each at plus 650. So we're getting spicy. We're about to get into the thousands range here for the odds. How you get the girl, another Swifty bet. Kelsey gets a touchdown in each half. This correlates with those other bets we just talked about. This is at plus 950. So, again, Kelsey gets 2 touchdowns. I'm going to be happy betting-wise. I'll be sad because that probably means they win. But betting-wise, I'll be pretty stoked. An octopus to be scored during this game. Octopus, if you don't know, is when a player scores the touchdown, they go for a 2-point conversion, and that same player that scored the touchdown also gets the 2-point conversion at plus 1,000. I can't give you a good reason for this one other than fuck it. Just having fun here. Next one here, Kansas City and San Francisco get 2.5 plus touchdowns each, and Kansas City and San Francisco get 1.5 plus field goals each. This is at plus 1100. So this goes again hand in hand with the bets I have made already, which would be the over. A lot of scoring is what I am guessing for here. I am guessing for multiple touchdowns for each team, and I'm guessing multiple field goals for each team. So yeah, that just combined here into that one bet as a combination of the single bets we already got going on at plus 1100. Getting a little spicier. Kelsey, Debo, Ayuk, Rice, all to have over 70 receiving yards. So that means a lot of passing. This is at plus 2,000. These are the ones I am not going to really recommend betting. This is just what we're going for funsies. Our final Swifty bet, blank space, is that Kelsey gets the octopus at plus 3,000. So this kind of makes sense because we're expecting Kelsey to get a touchdown. There's already half of that bet right now. He just needs to make the 2-point conversion, which also means they have to go for a 2-point conversion. So there's a reason why the odds are this high for an octopus. Let's just parlay it with Kelsey being the one to get it, since we already think he's going to be getting the touchdowns. And then the next 5 bets here are just predictions of the final score exactly. You can spread it out, shotgun approaches as you should, because the odds are so high, and there's there's an infinite amount of possibilities of the score that it could be, but probability wise, there's really only so many. We're not scoring 100 points a team. So for final scores at plus 6,000, I have Kansas City 24, San Francisco 27. At plus 7,000, I have Kansas City 20, San Francisco 27. At plus 9,000, Kansas City 27, San Francisco 31. Plus 10,000, Kansas City 24, San Francisco 31. And for the final one here, Kansas City 21, San Francisco 31 for plus 12,000. So these exact bet ones are pretty wild. I don't know if you want to take those, but it's a fun one, especially if they hit. So with that said, I owe you guys a bet. So I am going to pop onto Bovada here, and let's make it a fun one. Let's just go into the large odds, low probability type things. Where's that alien bet? I want to bet on that one. I don't know if that was real, but there's like a bet at 100,000, which seems low, that aliens invade the Super Bowl. So I don't know if there's going to be like some scam thing that goes on here where they make a whole like show out of aliens showing up. Because I saw another thing about some guy talking about how there's going to be a fake alien invasion that's staged by our government. But I'm not going to get all into the conspiracies here, but that's fun to think about. But I'm not going to get into those conspiracies here on this show. That's not what this is for. So let me get you a wild bet. What will be fun? 4+ touchdowns in each half is wild. So 8 touchdowns total. 54. No. At plus 20,000, that's kind of fun. Nah, I don't like that. I want something crazier. So what's the longest odds I can do? Plus 90,000. Kelsey, Rashee Rice, Brandon Ayuk, and Debo all to get 125 plus receiving yards. That's too much. I won't do that to you guys. That just sounds like a good way to give money to the sports book. A lot of the high odd bets are for Elijah Mitchell. Poor guy. Each team over 5.5 touchdowns. No. Each quarterback to have 500 plus passing. Oh, either quarterback to have plus 500 passing yards. Oh man, you can just go off. I don't think so. Well, of course I don't think so. Those are crazy odds. Let's see here. Kelsey and Brandon Ayuk to both get 150 receiving yards. So both of them just go off. Kelsey sounds likely. Ayuk's going to be covered. I forget by his name. So that might be a little bit more difficult. Debo and Isaiah Pacheco to combine for 250 rush yards. No. Niners to win. Okay. Kelsey a touchdown. Pacheco a touchdown. McCaffrey a touchdown. Ayuk a touchdown. Mahomes a touchdown. And Purdy a touchdown. No. Let's do this one. Let's do Kelsey and Ayuk to get both 150 plus receiving yards at plus 10,000. Let's go wild. So that will be the last bet here. That will put us at 58. I will share a link to the spreadsheet of all these bets in the description. Take a look there. Make a copy if you like. And enjoy the Super Bowl. Best of luck to everyone betting. You know, unless you're betting against me, then, you know, screw you. But either way, have a good weekend. And next thing we have coming up will be betting on the NFL draft. So a few months ago, a little bit off time, but I'll see you eventually. Thanks for a good season. We'll have a recap episode coming up to finish it out. Bye-bye.